What's up, guys? We're back again with some more Piers Morgan. Today we have Neil deGrasse Tyson on his show. So he has a New York show as well, so he's not in London anymore. He's actually in New York City. So he's bringing in all these American people, which is going to be incredible. This one is called Dinosaurs Would Still Be Here If We Had NASA. So I don't know what that means, guys, but drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys all think. I love watching these Piers Morgan segments. They're always fire. And let's get it, man.
Well, I'm delighted to say I'm joined now by Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil, great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for hanging
here on your side of the pond.
Yes, yes.
You've got another brilliant book out, Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization.
Yeah.
As always.
I just wanted to hear that in a British accent. Cosmic speculation in a cosmic universe.
As I have to ask you at the top.
Just released in paperback, just
right.
a week ago.
I think I talked to you when the hardback came out. Just in a nutshell, for those who haven't read this or any of your stuff, what is the simple, normal person's version of what this is about?
Things look different from a cosmic perspective. And I think I quote Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell in this book. And really, the entire book is about that quote. May I, if I may? He says, because, by the way, when we went to the moon to explore the moon, we looked over our shoulders and we discovered Earth for the first time. It was like a firmware upgrade in our awareness of who we were to each other, to the planet, and to nature. That's when the United States founded the Environmental Protection Agency. It was 1970, while we were on the moon. The first Earth Day was 1970, while we were on the moon. And there's a whole litany of actions that people took, laws that were passed to protect Earth. Here's what he noticed. He looked back and he said, you develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. From out there on the moon, international politics looks so petty. You want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, look at that, you son of a bitch. Can I say that?
Absolutely.
This is uncensored,
This is uncensored. You just did.
Yeah, I remember Jesse Ventura talks about that, guys. One of the guys who's on Apollo 14 took a picture of the Earth and then said, take care of it, guys. You know, take care of it. And, you know, as much as I don't believe in a lot of that climate stuff, guys, I definitely do believe in taking care of the world and each other. You know, more specifically, I want to spread positivity on this YouTube channel, guys. We're over here about positivity, bro. Come on.
So he was feeling the cosmic perspective. When you're that high up, you don't see the national borders. And we're just one species down there on this spaceship Earth, alone in the darkness of the universe, with no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves, as Carl Sagan had poetically referenced. And so you're changed. And so what I attempt in this book is to take places where we have arguments over holiday dinners, when the uncles and cousins and aunts come in, and say, what would that look like from a cosmic perspective? And half of those arguments evaporate in that instant. Because, like, what are you fighting about? Like, really? Can't you see why we are more the same than different? You don't see that, because our tribal urges will pick every little thing that you can possibly say is different. Is your skin differently reflective of sunlight than mine? Well, let's make a big deal of that. Do you worship different gods or no gods or any? Let's make a big deal of that.
I love this, guys. This is a very positive message. I love this, guys.
Oh, you sleep with this person and this instead of that person of our own species. Let's make a big deal of that.
Why are we so flawed human beings?
I think that feature mattered to our survival 100,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. Because you don't know if another group that showed up on the horizon, will they harm you, take your resources, or not? You don't know that. But you do know that other people in your tribe, they smell like you, they kind of look like you, and it's easy to distinguish them from the others. So that may have had survival value 50, 100,000 years ago. Today, when we have civilization and society and our intellect to know and understand our DNA, it's quite, I don't want to call it childish. Well, yeah, okay, I'm going to say it. This tribalism in the world feels childish to me. It's what would an
pretty powerful, guys.
Aliens say, they come say, oh, you're all the same species? You say, yeah, okay. And you're fighting for these reasons? But you're the same species, right? What are you doing? Why? And then they'll run home and report, there's no sign of intelligent life on Earth. Just saying.
I did the last...
I love that guy. That's powerful, guys. Don't hate your neighbor. I love that.
It's like I mentioned to you before in a previous interview, I did the last television interview with Professor Stephen Hawking. And it was a fascinating insight into that remarkable brain that he had. But
well, apparently it came out that dude was the biggest weirdo ever. Straight up, straight up and down the board.
One question really stuck with me, and one answered it. I said to him, what is, in your estimation, the biggest threat to mankind? And he said, when artificial intelligence learns to self-design. And other people have extrapolated that to mean, look, the thing is, when AI gets really advanced and gets potentially sentient, it will look at human beings and think, well, this lot are a complete waste of time, right? Why on earth, what's the point of them, right? For the reasons that you've just brilliantly outlined, and they'll just basically kill us all.
And make a world for themselves.
Yes,
right.
It doesn't involve the human frailties.
Well, just consider that right now, AI is basically everywhere. There's no...
Yeah, ChatGPT. Every college student in the world is using ChatGPT. I wish I could go back to college and just use ChatGPT. I would probably get an A on every single test, guys. Unbelievable.
Tech company that isn't fully exploiting the value of AI to their business model. Yeah. In my field, which is not even a corporate entity, it's just science. In my field, astrophysics, we've been using AI at any possible point that it could advance us. We use it, and we've been using it for decades.
Why aren't you terrified of it? Because you're very positive about AI.
Okay, there are people who will read you the riot act about the future of AI, and many of them are deep in the field. So I'm not here to undo their concerns. All I would tell you is AI in its sort of restricted form, where I have a task, I don't want to do it. Let a machine do it, and let's teach it and have it machine learn what it is I need it to do and have it do it. That's kind of how AI has manifested in society.
Why do you not fear that AI can become genuinely sentient and start making decisions completely on its own?
Yeah, it depends. You can make a decision, but how much power are you going to grant it? All right.
I mean, look, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, and I certainly don't compare my brain to yours. However, my simple mind, my simple mind says to me that, as with the internet, as with all great new innovations, but particularly with AI, given its enormous power, I can absolutely see all the positives, especially in science, in medicine, all these things.
And there's an existential risk on the other side of that,
well,
yes.
Because inevitably, people with nefarious motives will get their hands on it, and they will want AI to perform in a negative, destructive manner, because that is the nature of the beast. It's why when Lance Armstrong was the best cyclist in the world, he doped to get an even bigger advantage, so they all followed him and they all started doping, and it ruined cycling. It's the nature of the beast.
I'm not sure that's how it worked with Lance Armstrong. I'm pretty sure just everybody was doping. I don't think they specifically knew that he was doping. I think they just knew that everybody was taking roids, so they'll just do it anyways. That's kind of a little bit of a different example, but I understand what he's saying.
That humans with our brains will take, some people with really dark aspirations for this new wonder thing, will take it and misuse it. How are you not as scared as I'm about that?
Yeah, so I think any technological advance has always had a dark side in the hands of nefarious actors. So yes, AI poses an existential risk. So too did nuclear weapons, right? So too do weapons in general, all right? And so I was on a board that served the Pentagon, a defense innovation board it was, and we confronted this issue with AI in the military. And we arrived at the conclusion that if a kill decision has to be made, a human being needs to be in that loop. You cannot have AI make that decision without a human being participating in it. Recognizing that AI is inevitable in that world, and so but you want to put in some constraints. And yes, this is not the rogue actor, right? These are rational people making these decisions. So yes, we should be concerned. I agree. But does that mean you want to shut down all of AI? I don't think that's
No, I don't mean that. But do you think, with your brilliant mind, do you not think that AI can ever self-design?
Yeah, I mean,
Because that's the crucial question.
yeah, I mean, there are different levels of this. I was quite impressed the day I learned that I could take software, tell it what I wanted it to do, and it completely wrote my computer program for me. And it was a flawless program.
That's just insane, guys.
Was that,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, but is that based on the fact that it's got access to everything you've ever written?
No, because I told it what I needed it to do, and it just wrote the code.
But that's different. That's obeying instructions and giving you a brilliant version of that incredibly quickly. I mean, I'll give you one example. So a friend of my eldest son, his mother was very upset that he hadn't thanked her for a 30th dinner party she threw for him for his 30th birthday. And so eventually he just went on to GP chat. He said, give me a note I can send my mother, right? And he sent it to his mother, this like screen long thing. And she rang him sobbing in tears and said, you've never ever moved me the way you did with this. And he hasn't had the heart to tell her that it was
That's the most British story I've ever heard in my life. My lord.
Secret is busted now.
Yeah, so it was this chat thing, right? So that's the problem, right?
How could you say he hasn't had the heart to tell her? This is my international broadcast, and you're okay.
I haven't named
Yeah, he
the people
just ratted him out there, guys, unfortunately. But anywho.
concerned for
fine.
obvious reasons. But
Fine.
you get my point, right?
Yeah. So that's, I think, I would count that as nefarious. It's like it's emotion that he didn't really think or feel. But consider that when ChatGPT arrived and you realize it could compose your term paper, people pooped their pants, okay? Well, liberal arts folks pooped their pants because they realized, oh my gosh, I've been creating all this stuff and now a machine can do it in seconds. And then I thought, well, suppose I were in their shoes, because I was as a scientist and I saw the computer power encroach into the world. I said, pick something you can give it to do that you didn't want to do anyway, like write instruction manuals or tour guides, or there's plenty of stuff to give AI to do, reserving your own creativity for yourself. Plus, I learned in one of them, where they scanned all these books, what was it, 100-something thousand books, 15 of my books were in that data set. I learned, I'm not in the lawsuit, okay? I just want to see how it unfolds. But I'm intrigued by that, because it means if you ask it questions, some fraction of what it finds to be true or interesting or responsive will be drawn from my content, which are nonfiction books about the universe.
Presumably, it will be able to
including this book, by the way.
Right, and it'll be able to write speeches based on everything you've written, right?
Yes.
You could do a lecture. You could say, give me a 3,000-word lecture based on what I've written about X.
But you know what it's not going to do? It's not, well, not yet. Is it going to invent something new?
Well, that's the question.
Well, that's my point.
I wish it could do that. Like, if it could, get a cure for cancer, or if it could, I don't know, get a cure for heart disease, these big things, guys, that we have in the world, that'd be incredible, actually, if it could just invent new things. Like, that would be great now. And I'm sure they have used it. I'm sure the CIA do use it for that, NSA, all that type of stuff.
That's what I put. If you
That's what I mean by self-design.
Yeah, well, no, okay. So
Isn't that what it means?
Suppose you're a naturalist and you on the seashore and you find a new shell that is not yet cataloged. And you call a friend of yours, I found this new shell. That you don't put it on the internet, you just have a new shell. And it develops a whole new understanding of bivalves. If that's not on the internet, your AI will be clueless about it. It'll have no idea. Because the AI is not wandering the seashores looking for new science.
No, but you're assuming at the moment that AI is still under our control.
It kind of is. Well, it's limited to anything that's on the internet.
Because it can't think for it.
You see, I didn't think about that, guys. You kind of think of AI like it's not even limited to anything in the world. It can just do everything. But it is actually limited to everything that's on the internet, which is everything, but not everything, right? It doesn't, like, create new species and stuff like that, right?
So, outside the internet.
Right. Huh. But
I can think outside the internet.
The key question which Stephen Hawking was raising was he believed there would be a time when it could literally think for itself. And at that moment, it would calculate, when it reached that point, that humans were redundant. They were pointless.
Right, so that's a different issue from whether it can invent new knowledge. And to me,
right. Well, I don't see why.
Coming to it as a scientist, we're on the frontier looking where no one has looked before, inventing methods of detection where no one has detected before.
Right.
An AI in a box is not doing that until we offer it that information.
Right.
And so in my field, there are reams of data that we don't have the time or the bandwidth to analyze. We train AI on it, and it helps us figure out what the universe is like. But
yeah, that's really beneficial, guys. That's seriously beneficial.
we are the ones who got the data for it, not it. So for me, that's a fundamental limit to...
So if we had something that could collect data in the world and then transfer it to AI, game over for humans.
how creative AI can possibly be.
Ever.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say ever, because
Really?
the AI is not walking the beach.
But my brain is telling me it is inevitable that at some stage, hopefully not in my lifetime because I don't want to see it, AI will be able to do stuff completely on its own, originate.
I'm sure they already have that. Like, I'm sure that people suggest that the U.S. government, some, NSA, some of these parts of the government that invent, insects with cameras and all these crazy different technologies, and they invented the internet, and these wildly deep secret parts of the government, some military contractors, that they can already do that. I'm sure that they have already done that, guys. Actually, matter of fact, like, it's probably like 60 years, 70 years in advance, apparently, with UFOs and all that type of thing. So
original thought, and it's at that point
Make the kill decision on its own.
yes, and it's at that point Stephen Hawking says we're done. So you don't think it's going to happen?
Well, I'd like to have more confidence in the capacity of our species to make the right decisions.
True.
Really?
Than that.
We make so many terrible
We
decisions.
do. We do.
Look at the state of the world.
We do. It's bad.
Awful people doing awful things
It's-
everywhere.
Me and my people, we tend to the universe, and the universe is in good shape, I would say.
Is it?
Y'all are messing up Earth. go back and fix Earth.
No, just blame me. You're a human being as well.
But I have just an allegory about the robot wielding a gun. Forgive me for not remembering the name of this person who uttered this. But upon realizing that with the power of a bow and arrow, you could kill another human being without actually looking them in the eyes. And the conclusion was, that's the end of bravery. And so I thought about this. Whoa. Any tool where you can kill at a distance, that's cowardly.
yeah, and this is the reason why they actually torture snipers and stuff in the military, because when you're a normal trooper and you're in a platoon of 12 guys, or what do they call it, a group of 12 guys, special forces, whatever, and you're hunting down the enemy, you're kind of doing it like, maybe a couple hundred yards. When you're a sniper, you're doing it from 2-3 miles away. You're just shooting a guy or whatever, and it's like, it's kind of a bit cowardly, right? That's why they hate snipers a lot. I don't personally think that, but it's technically like that. So wow, that's crazy.
Some level. And the progress of military conflict has been, how far away can you kill at a distance?
Well, have unmanned drones killing people.
Or missiles, that's intercontinental ballistic missile. Let me kill a whole city, and I'm not even within 5,000 miles of the city. So the fact that a robot is wielding a gun, is that any different from a guided missile? I don't think so.
But the danger comes if the robot with the gun can think for itself and not take instructions from a human.
Yeah.
You're couching all your defense of why I shouldn't be worried with, I don't think we're going to reach a point where a robot can make that decision.
You know what it is? We don't really fully understand human consciousness. So to suggest that a robot will achieve consciousness and then make moral decisions that weren't otherwise pre-programmed in, I don't know how far in the future that is, but I think we have to understand our own mind first. Which we don't. Not at the level we would need to speak with that level of
I think
confidence.
that's right. What scares you most about civilization, the future, the world, the universe?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. I would say we're losing our capacity to distinguish what is true from what is not. What is objectively true.
Yeah, so this is like the misinformation type of thing that everybody's talking about nowadays. That's kind of getting true. I feel like I don't believe anything anymore. I'm not going to lie. No cap. I feel like I don't believe anything anymore. It's crazy.
Methods and tools of science are exquisitely designed to establish what is objectively true. And objective truth is, I perform an experiment, I get a result. Other people perform other experiments, get the same result. It repeats. There it is.
How damaging was the COVID pandemic to trust in scientists? Because it obviously followed exactly the path you've just said, where as new information came out and got tested, different scientists would reach different conclusions, then there would be more consensus. But the public are watching all this, And they're thinking, well, how can we trust the science?
Yeah, so some of this is because we as a species have a very poor understanding of probability and statistics. In fact, there's an entire chapter in here called, what do I call it, risk and reward, about, you can look at a bar chart and it tells you that you should do this. But someone comes up to you and says, no, don't do that. Look, this would happen to me. I will never do that. This one person out of thousands that might have filled this bar chart will convince you to not follow the bar chart. Because the bar chart doesn't have a face saying, do this, it's better for you. Yeah. The eyewitness testimony of the individual emotionally overrides actual data. True. And this is replete across the internet. A person, what's irresistible clickbait? Someone on YouTube saying, the establishment wants you to think this.
Yes, of course.
But I've got the answer that they don't want you to know. Clickbait, right there. If we had better tools from the educational system, how to deal with information, data, knowledge, statistics, I think we would be, dare I say, inoculated against the charlatans.
How much of an enemy to science and the integrity of science is social media in amplifying the conspiracy theories?
Yeah, I don't want to blame social media. It's too easy to blame social media, and I want to blame social media, but I don't.
But isn't it a major part of it? Because
it magnifies. It's a magnifier.
Massively fuels the conspiracy.
It's fuel. It throws fuel on something that I think was already.
Would we ever have had a vaccine that was accepted
there
in social media era? I'm not sure, because you just see that there.
Yeah, if COVID were 50% lethal, yeah.
Yes.
It was low single digits, so that's low enough so that people can think that they're not in that low single digits.
True.
And everyone who died from not being vaccinated is not writing a book that's
true, but also there's been also side effects and stuff, so you never know.
Anti-vaccine because they're dead. Okay, so dead people don't talk. So there's a one-sided awareness of the value of these advances in medical science. So what I'm, as an educator, I don't like coming after the fact and hitting people on the head. I would ask the educational system, you need to improve people's understanding of what science is and how and why it works. And the communication, I think, could have been a little more respectful of the statistics involved. Here's how, this is in hindsight, granted, who's thinking this at the time? In hindsight, I would say, the CDC or whatever agency it is should come out and say, as of this week, here is what the science tells us.
Yeah.
The vaccine is 90% effective at this. It prevents you from going to the hospital. It'll prevent you from dying in this percentage of cases. And there are these adverse effects in this percent of cases. And wear masks or don't wear masks. The data.
Yeah, like that's a good point, guys. When I took my whatever, guys, jabs and stuff, I felt great, guys. That's a subjective thing. After the 2, I felt good. After the 3rd, I didn't feel good. So it's all subjective, like what one guy feels from something reacting to medication. I've talked to all my even left-wing friends and whatever you want to say, guys. Some people feel great from it. Some people felt really bad from it. Some people might have, bad stuff might have happened from it. So you never know, guys. It's kind of individualistic, I think, a lot of this stuff.
Says maybe you should do this. Clean the packages. We all clean the food because they thought it was primarily respiratory rather than also in your blood. Okay. So the next week, more data come in. We've adjusted these numbers. Now, if the public were experienced at interpreting changes in statistical information, then you could trust that everybody would make the right decision in the interest of public health. But we don't have that background. The people delivering information, I think, didn't trust that we would think about the statistics properly, and it became this mosh pit.
Yeah. When you look at the universe,
which is every day.
Quite difficult to look at, but you spend a lot of time immersed in it. I mean, obviously, we know so much more than we used to. What are the unanswered aspects of it all that you would absolutely love to crack?
UFOs. Please, aliens.
Yeah, so I've lived long enough that I no longer put so much emotion in the unanswered question of the day, because I know it will ultimately be answered. I remember 20 years ago, gee, we need to know how old the universe is. It was uncertain by a factor of 2 for most of my time in graduate school. And now we've got it tight. So that's no longer an interesting question. So for me, the most interesting question is, are we smart enough as a species to answer the questions we've posed? Or perhaps even more than that, are we smart enough to even know what questions to ask in the first place? That's a question about human physiology for me.
Elon Musk is of a view that we need to have our life taken to other planets. And he also says that we are in desperate need of more people, not fewer people on the planet. What do you think of those two things?
It's a matter of can we sustain a population with the resources we have and our access to it. Some projections show that we'll level off at about 10 billion people on Earth, and I find those projections convincing, unless we double our life expectancy. If we do, and we run out of space, we need another planet. So I kind of like other planets because I'm an astrophysicist.
Where would you most like to live?
There's no choice in the matter. It would have to be Mars.
There's no other option?
No. No.
Could there ever be?
You'd have to, well, you'd have to go to Venus and try to have it not be 900 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? And I did the calculation. You can cook a 16-inch pizza on the windowsill in 3 seconds, okay? You would vaporize too, but it's fast, in the atmosphere. So no, you don't, Mars has a 24-hour day, approximately. It's tipped on its axis. It has polar ice caps, as we still do for now on Earth. It goes through seasons. We think there's a reservoir of water that was once there on the surface and now frozen as a permafrost. So if there's any planet that is terraformable, it would be Mars as another home for folks on Earth. The reason to do it is not to protect our species in case an asteroid comes and hits our Earth. That's the wrong, fine, it makes a headline, but think about it. If you have the resources to terraform Mars and ship 1 billion people there, you have the resources to deflect an asteroid from Earth. Right. Okay,
very true.
This is not.
What are, by the way, you mentioned asteroid. What is the chance of an asteroid smacking into us?
The good thing about
like the movies.
The good thing about this is that the bigger, the badder the asteroid, the farther away we will likely discover it before it does any damage.
But isn't it the less likely that we can protect ourselves, the bigger it is?
No, well, if we discover an asteroid that might hit us in 150 years, plenty of time to do something about it, given the rate of technology and the ingenuity that we have as a species.
How do you stop a gigantic existential...
I'll tell you how. Like in Armageddon, you get Bruce Willis, you get a bunch of just nutcases that are able to drill holes really deep. That's no joke over there, guys, you know what I mean? And then you go and you drill a hole in that bad boy, you nuke it, guys. Isn't that something like that? Armageddon was the best. Armageddon was the best documentary ever, guys. I call it a documentary. It's not even a movie. It's real life, guys. All right, Aerosmith. That movie had it all.
Yeah, you don't. It's not a Bruce Willis bomb thing.
So what do you do?
Yeah, you go in and you deflect it.
How?
Oh, by any shove on it that's sideways?
Oh, you're President of the United States.
No, well, yeah,
right?
okay.
There's a massive asteroid. It's going to crash into the world.
Yes, we have
the kind of thing we saw with the Bruce Willis movie.
We have engineering plans for deflecting asteroids, and there are multiple ways to do it. You can put you can have a gravitational tug, where you can have a spacecraft that sits just ahead of it, and the two of them will want to drift towards one another, but you take the spacecraft and put a little retro rocket, and it'll keep. And if you get this early enough, 1 centimeter per second, the tiniest amount will accumulate over time. And you just have to make it so that it overshoots Earth or undershoots Earth compared to the original path.
Come on.
Because you know the dinosaurs would still be here if they had NASA.
If they had NASA?
Yeah, just saying.
So what is the thing that...
that's a funny one, yeah, because dinosaurs were eradicated by the meteor. That's crazy.
Keeps you up at night. What's the thing you're most scared about?
Whether we are wise enough to be shepherds of our own technologies.
And does that come back to the cosmic perspective of us actually recognizing how lucky we are?
Yes. You have to...
And making decisions accordingly.
Where does the wisdom come from? It's not from the internet. It's not from fighting in trenches. It's stepping back and say, oh my gosh, life is precious. Our species is precious. Earth is precious. Earth sustains us with its animal kingdom and plant kingdom and its atmosphere and its oceans. Yep. The holistic picture that is, if we don't have the wisdom to understand that and make sure that it sustains us, we don't deserve this planet.
You know why?
Oh, I've never said that before. That's mean.
I like it.
No, that's no.
No, you're right.
Let me cast that in a positive. To the extent that we can develop wisdom to become better shepherds of our world and our place in it, we will be deserving of an indefinite, unlimited future.
I preferred your first verse.
No.
Tough love. It's tough love. Finally, where can I get one of your ties? That's fantastic.
I was going to say his tie is savage.
No robot's ever going to choose one of those.
Oh, but this has all the planets except for Pluto.
Really?
Yeah.
Why have you left Pluto out?
Don't get me started.
Well, what's the short answer?
No, I think Pluto's here, but it's in the knot. Yeah, Pluto, get over it. Pluto had it coming. Just letting you know.
It's brilliant to see you. I love catching up with you.
Well, thank you.
Because all the things that are really genuinely concerning me, I can just ask somebody who knows.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to offer some.
I'm glad you're positive about AI because I want to be, but I'm always mindful of what Stephen Hawking said to me, and that makes me.
You just don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And AI can help us design new drugs, new diseases. There's so much it can do.
True.
Yet people spooked by ChatGPT want to throw everything.
I think you meant to say design new cures for diseases.
Oh, what did I say?
You said design new diseases.
I did not mean to say that.
Which is exactly what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about. Neil deGrasse Tyson, your book, Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization, as long as he manages to say the right sentence. That's a great book. Good to see you.
All right, thanks, sir.
All the best.
Oh, that was amazing. Wow, that couldn't have gone better, man. I love that. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, definitely a great scientist to listen to, guys. Really interesting. You know, I've never really listened to his stuff too much. I know there was debate over certain stuff that he would say before about planets and this type of stuff, but astrophysicist, cool to have him on, guys. Let me know what you all think. That was amazing, guys. I love you all, man. I'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.